So in this video I'm going to show you how to use your Moog Grandmother to create echoes or repeats a little bit like this. I will also show you how to synchronize them to your playing and to the Arpeggiator or sequencer, and how to use this technique to make the Arpeggiator repeat notes. This is something which the Arpeggiator cannot naturally do, so I think it's pretty cool. Now this is sort of a technique rather than a patch as such, and there are several moving parts, or 3 or 4 controls that you have to adjust together simultaneously, not necessarily, but tweak one, tweak the other, and I'll show you how to do this in the video. It's really nice to have 2 hands to twiddle the dials, difficult to do or not so easy to do on a computer. So let's head over to the Grandmother and we'll see how it's all put together. So this uses a technique which you've probably used hundreds of times before, and it is simply modulating the cutoff with the LFO. So I'll just briefly run through the setup so you know where we're starting from right to left. There's a smidgen of reverb just to take the dryness off the sound. In the ADSR, the attack and decay are set to fast, fully counterclockwise. The sustain is not terribly important, but we'll set it around 3/4 of the way. The release is one of the moving parts that we have to adjust, so we'll set that to about 12 o'clock. The filter, we will just set this to what we'll say was a default state. The cutoff is fully open, it's fully clockwise. This is the resonance is fully anti-clockwise. This is in the middle. So we're just using one oscillator just so you can hear exactly what's going on. I normally set that to about 3 o'clock. So we've got the first oscillator set to 8 foot, sawtooth waveform. Of course, you can add the second oscillator, detune it, add sync, whatever you want to do to produce a more interesting sound. Now, one of the other moving parts is, of course, the LFO section. So the pitch and pulse wave are fully counterclockwise, they're fully off. The filter cutoff, of course, is fully on. You can experiment with different waveforms. I find second one is at a ramp down, sawtooth, shark tooth, whatever. That works reasonably well. So the other moving part is the rate. So we can start with that about 12 o'clock as well. And we need the mod wheel fully up. And with all that done, we should get a sound something like that. Now, what we need to do is adjust the release, the cutoff, and the rate to get a repeating effect. Now, there's not a lot going on here because the cutoff is fully open, so the LFO has not a lot of harmonics to have a go at. So if we reduce that, so we get a more repetitive effect, and adjust the rate, and that cuts off fairly quickly. So if we adjust the release time, and if you're going to play long notes, if you turn the release all the way up, that produces a sort of echo effect. And obviously this determines the length of the note. As well as the number of echoes. Now, of course, because this is monophonic, the echoes from one note do not carry onto another note. So that is basically the best I think we can do without a dedicated delay unit. Now we can increase the speed of the delays, it's going to get to a point where, in fact, if you crank the rate knob right up, you get into weird territory, which is very interesting, but that's not what we're going for at the minute. So I think that's quite nice. Okay, so there's a sort of echo, delay, repeat effect. Now, one of the things which you will notice if you do this is, depending on how you play and what you're playing and what the rate is, the LFO is not always in time with what you are playing. So, you can hear this, but if we slow this down. So if we play in time with the LFO, it sounds okay, but if we want to play at a different speed, so sometimes what happens is you hit a note when the LFO has got the filter closed and the note doesn't appear straight away, or you might play a note as the filter is being closed, so the note seems to get cut off a bit abruptly. Now this of course is going to depend on the filter setting, but we can overcome this problem. If indeed it is a problem, it may not be a problem for you, but it may become more of a problem when we start using the arpeggiator and the sequencer. So what we can do is to patch the gate out to the sync in. So when we play a note, this generates a gate signal which goes into the sync section of the LFO, which tells the LFO to start LFOing. So we get the cycle starting as soon as we press the key. So that was a terrible run. So that should ensure that what you play is in sync with the effect. Now then, let us bring in the arpeggiator, which is yet another moving part. So I'm going to put this on hold here, and I'm only going to play 2 notes so you can hear exactly what's happening. Hear the raw signal, if you like, without the effect by switching off the modulation with the Moog wheel. And you will find that the release also plays a part in the number of repeats that you hear. If we turn the release down, there's obviously no release phase, so there's no repeats. So that's, I think, a reasonable repeat. You can see how finely you have to adjust the controls to get the required effect, but I think that's quite cool. Now here's the naked sound, and there's a little repeat. Now if we turn up the release, we get a sort of triplet effect. So yes, you do have to tune. Yes, you do have to tune the controls they're quite sensitive. And if you change the speed of the arpeggiator, that will affect the repeats. And of course, there's only one oscillator here, but if you turn the cutoff down, then of course you get more of a bass sound, so you could use this to create some bass riffs. So that's the basic technique. Very sensitive. You may have stumbled across this. I stumbled across this and lost it, and then I worked out how it was working, so put it back together again. So I should be able to recreate this on demand, although as you have seen, the controls do require fine adjustment. So there we go. So I hope you found it interesting and fun and useful, and I hope you can use that in your own patches. Do let me know what you think. If you do create any pieces of music using this patch, then do please feel free to leave a link to the music below in the comment section. So if you enjoyed this video and would like more like it, along with pieces of electronic music and various comments and videos about synthesizers in general, then you might want to consider subscribing to the channel. That would be very much appreciated. In any event, I do appreciate you spending time watching my videos, so for that, thank you very much indeed. And I will see you in the next video.